Hello YouTube, RJ. On the introduction to my voltage calibrator project, I showed you the new screen that I got in from Elecrow called a Crowpanel 7-inch. I said I'd get some programming done and come back and show you what I was able to do and make a decision whether I was going to use it or go to an Nexion. Well, today I've got a new screen and it's not a Nexion, it's another Elecrow, and a little story to it. I got going on interface design on this screen and things were going pretty good. But I had noticed that the angle of view was not really great on the screen. If you get much off center of the screen, the colors, the screen dimmed and kind of changed colors. I also noticed the colors weren't, vivid. They were colors and you could see them okay, but they just weren't vivid. They didn't pop out. So while I was working on learning their software programming, I found out they make two models of this. This is the basic I bought off Amazon. But Elecrow themselves, if you go to Elecrow and order it from China, you can get what they call their advanced panel. And the advanced panel has a more powerful processor. It has an IPS screen instead of TN, so the angles, it has a beautiful 180-degree viewing angle. And the colors supposedly are much more vivid. And it has a capacitive touchscreen instead of the resistive on this one, which capacitives are much better touchscreens. So I got to looking and it was only like $2 difference from what I paid for Amazon for this to get the advanced from Elecrow. So I went ahead and did it because I'm building this expensive device and I want it to work and look marvelous. So I don't want to skimp. So I went and ordered it. It was like 50 something bucks. The penalty is this, you can probably have in 2 days. This you got to wait a week and a half. So it's been about 2 weeks since we did the video on me unpacking the screen and talking about the voltage calibrator. So today what I want to do is I'm going to crack this thing open. We're going to take a look at it. And I'm going to see, supposedly the code will, being that it uses ESP32s on both of them, just different models, supposedly the code will transfer right over. So I'm going to try to load the code I've got on this screen. We'll plug both of them in, we'll bring them up, we'll take a look at them, and we'll see what we think and see, can we really see a difference? And was it worth me buying another screen? I'll always use a screen on something. But if this is brighter and got a better view angle and better touch screen and all that, more powerful processor, I want this on the voltage calibrator. So let's tear into this thing, see what we got. Let's see here and here. I also was able to order a couple extra little cords that plug into these, so that was nice. It's like $1.50 for like, I think I got like 5 of those, of the little cords that plug in, pre-made. So it looks like they pack it really nice. See here, yeah, it's 5 of them. Here's the cables. I ordered them for $1.50. And this is a little temperature humidity sensor they have that is set up to plug right into it. And I got it for, it was like a couple bucks. I got it for just because. So let's take a look at this baby. Right now, looks identical. I did get the acrylic case for this one too. Okay, look at that. It says advanced. It's the advanced. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's advanced 7.0. None of that cheapy old basic stuff. This is the advanced. We got it. The one wire they send with it. We got a USB cable there. That's nice. So let's get this stuff out of our way. It's got this little brown thing on it. Let's get that off while we're right off the bat. Come on, baby. Not the easiest. You had to let go right there. All right. I think time for me to go jump on the computer, get this set up, see if I can load the software. If I get the software loaded, I'll come back. We'll take a look. We'll power both these screens up, same interface, and we'll see what we think about them. So I'll be right back. Well, it turns out it's not going to be quite that easy. Turns out there is some changes to code for the new screen, some libraries, and a bunch of stuff I got to go through to get swapped around. So I'm going to work on that. I'll be back once I've got it done. Might be a few hours, might be a few days. I don't know, but I'll be back and we'll check these two screens out and see how they turned out. Wow, that was fun. Yeah, hours and hours of fighting with libraries, changing library versions and changing, editing files and stuff. I got it. I got the interface loaded on the new screen. So let me show you the difference in what they look like. I'm going to fire up the old one. Let you see what it looks like. This is just the rough draft so far of what I've come up with the interface for the voltage control. Okay. This is our interface here. You choose what you want to change voltage wise. Output can be turned on and off. Touchscreen works okay. The resistive touchscreen's a little less responsive. It's noticeable. You see the colors. I want to show you that as you go off, well, let me do it without glare if I can find somewhere I won't get glare. As you go off angle with this screen, it gets hard to, I don't know how that's going to show up in the camera. The screen kind of loses its color, goes kind of dim. It has very poor angle. You have to look, it's like cheap TVs. You got to look pretty well straight on to see it decent. This is the newer unit. It's got a faster processor. Let me slide this down a little, bring this one in. It's got a faster processor. It's got a capacitive touchscreen. It's definitely more responsive. You can feel it. Seems a little smoother. And I think you're going to notice perhaps that made the hole kind of big on this one in the case. It's hard to just fill the USB in. I think you're going to see that it's brighter, runs a little smoother. The angle is going to be a lot better. The touchscreen is much better. So let's take a look at this one. Okay, so put them up here side by side. You can see this is kind of grayer. This is more black, like a higher end TV. And notice as I tilt it, it really doesn't lose its clarity or color. It stays very, I'm sorry, I'm looking over here to see what you're seeing to make sure I'm not getting a lot of glare and stuff in. Forgive me for that. But you can see that it keeps, from any angle, it keeps, very deep angles is just as bright and colorful. Oops, I hit the reboot button, I'm sorry. You can see the animation is smooth. Do that again. The animation is quite smooth. The touchscreen is marvelous. It's just absolutely just butter smooth. Just as fast as you could click. It's no miss. Works like butter. It's just working with the two now that I've got the code loaded up on this one. Definitely a big difference here. I'm glad I went ahead and spent the extra, $58 or whatever to get this one. I'll use this one in a project, no problem. But this project, it's going to be a high dollar project. I want to use a nice screen. I want everything to be nice. It's a lot of money, a lot of work being done on it. So anyway, that's where we are with the screens. This is the advanced. This is the basic. Basically, they're about the same amount of money. I think this one cost me $2 more than what I paid Amazon to get this one for the advanced. I just had to order it from Elecrow directly and, wait a week and a half to get it. I'm happy I did. I like the screen a whole lot better. So hope this helped you kind of see why I spent a little extra money to get a different screen. And you'll be seeing this screen, and there's more stuff going to be going on here with it. There is a little FPS display up here. That's just because I forgot to take it out of the code when I was tweaking around. But you can see I'm getting 66 frames per second on an interface screen for a volt comparator. That ought to get it done. We're not playing video games, right? So, hey, thanks for hanging out to check out the screen. I'll keep you in the loop on everything going forward, and I hope to see you in my next video.